think it's a great topic. It was suggested by Fernando Kittrell, and hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I'm saying his name correctly, but it's such a great topic. And so I appreciate you for joining in to listen to me drop some motivational nuggets on when is it time to leave your job? How do you know that, right? And so welcome to my Facebook audience. I know that Instagram is online. And I can see I'm using my smartphone for my Instagram, and the writing is teeny tiny, so I can see people out there waving at me, but I can't read the names from this distance. But welcome to my Facebook audience. I appreciate you all for being in this space with me today. And again, I'm Twanna Carter, career and anxiety coach, and today's topic is when do you know? How do you know when it's time to leave your job? What is it? Is it time for you to leave your job? And so give me a moment because I do want to make sure give people a chance to hop on Facebook and as well to share the video in a couple of different places. I want to be sure everybody has time to get on. I know that I said I'd be live at 8:30. I think I was on time today. Yeah, sometimes the streaming is a bit crazy. My internet went haywire yesterday and it locked up. My internet shut down and my whole entire laptop locked up. Have no clue what was going on with that. But today's topic again is it time to leave your current job? How do you know when it's time to leave your current job? So let's see, there it is right there. I want to be sure that I share this with the group. For the ladies out there, I do have a free Facebook group for women with anxiety, and it's called Rising Above Anxiety. You are more than welcome just to do a search on Rising Above Anxiety on Facebook, and you can find the group and join me, right? It is a great group. Let's see here. I'm trying to do too many things at one time. It's always great trying to multitask. And I was a huge believer in multitasking, but now that I understand true multitasking, not so much. It's just difficult you can multitask things on a surface level, but if you're really deep, you don't really multitask because you can only give your attention to one thing at a time. So I am now going to give my attention to our topic today. Is it time to leave your job? So started this out a little differently. I'm going to start off with the reasons why people will typically stay in a job probably way longer than they need to, right? I've given 9 reasons. If you are in my Rising Above Anxiety group and you want to ask me a question in real time, go ahead and hop on over to my business page. It's Twanna Carter, Professional and Personal Coaching, LLC, and you can ask me in real time and I can actually see the questions and see people hop on there. And on Instagram, you can ask me questions and I'll just have to like lean up and you'll see me do that. It means I'm trying to read a question. Like, let's see, I'm waving at somebody there. I think I got it. Yes, I waved back. Yes. But yes, there are 9 reasons that I give that people would typically stay in a job longer than they need to. Number 1 reason that I typically hear, I got to pay the mortgage. I got to put clothes on the back of the kids. I got to feed the dog. Hey, bills got to be paid. At the end of the day, bills have to be paid. Not everybody's in a position just to say, ooh, this job is like working my nerve, gotta go, fine. Most of us are not in that position. So that's typically the number 1 reason, or very close to it, that people will stay in a job. Number 2 is, and these are in no particular order, but I've invested, fill in the blank. I've invested 10 years here. I've invested 9 years. I've invested 20 years. I've been here 35 years. I've invested too much time. I'm not leaving this job. No, I'm not leaving. I've got 40 years here. I've got 25 years here. And people will just sit there because I've invested X amount of time here. Number 3, if I waited out long enough, the regime will change. The new managers will go somewhere, the CEO will go somewhere, the directors will get new people, a new influx of people. All I got to do is sit back and wait long enough. They'll get tired and move on. Okay. Number 4, For many people, this may be the fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th job they've had in the past year. And they're like, I hate this job. I don't like it, but it's the 10th job I've had in like a year and a half. I might want to sort of hold on to this one. Okay. And then number five, I've actually seen this one too, is intimidation from current management. Some people are intimidated. They've been intimidated by their supervisors, by their managers, and they're afraid to quit. They're afraid to leave because of intimidation. This is a tough one. Okay. Number six says, what the heck do I do? What the heck else would I do? And commonly this one kind of goes hand in hand with, I've been here for 10 years. What am I going to do? I've been here for 25 years. What else would I do? These are the reasons why, we're talking about 9 reasons why people will stay in their job. Um, and then number seven, I just don't know if I could get another job. I've been with this company for 15 years. I don't know if I could go out and get another job. And kind of dovetail with that one, I don't know if I can get another job paying me what this job pays, right? And then number eight, I often hear this one a lot as well, is I'm afraid. I'm afraid. You got to do the interview thing. You got to do the resume. You got to have interview clothing. You got to take off this job to present for an interview. I'm so afraid. No, I can't do that right now. Right. And finally, number nine, people don't know how to effectively transition from one job to another. And this will happen when you see people that have kind of homesteaded. They've been in a job 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, sometimes just 5 years. They're like, I don't know how to transition from one job to the other. Oftentimes, I'll hear people say, hey, this is my first job. I've been here 10 years. I have no idea how to transition. Okay. And so I thought it, a little different to start with the 9 reasons people typically stay in their job. And so, and these are all reasons that I've heard, or all reasons I've been in workplaces, and I've seen that people give the reason why they stay in a job, and they may hate it. They walk in and go, I hate this job, I hate this job, I hate this job, and they still stay because one of these 9 reasons. Now, if you've heard some more reasons that I haven't mentioned here, drop me a comment and let me know the reasons that you've heard people will stay in their job instead of leaving when they know it's not a good job fit for them. All right. And so now we're going to move on to, this is where I want to share some motivational nuggets. When do you know it's time to leave the job? And I'm going to share a story with you. I had a coworker that numerous times was sent home by her doctor on bed rest with the instructions of, do not lift anything heavier than a broomstick. She was so ill. She was under so much stress and pressure, and that he was like, don't lift anything heavier than a broomstick. Her blood pressure was up, having problems getting it down. She couldn't, and sometimes she would have to go home for 2 weeks at a time, not lift a broomstick. And so, if you have kids, and you're in that position, and your kid's 25 pounds, do you not pick up your child? That's tough. But again, she was so ill from the stress of the job that she had to be sent home. When you get to that point, it may be time for you to leave your job, right? And so when I say leave your job, I am by no means saying that, yep, today I quit without something else behind it. That's not what I'm saying. But if your doctor is sending you home on bed rest because of stress, it's a pointer. It's a pointer that you may be time for you to lose your job. Um, and not, I'll mention hypertension. But if your hypertension is off the chain and you're on, like, and I've seen people on 3 different medications for hypertension or high blood pressure, and they can't get it down. I've seen people whose diabetes was off the chart. Their reading levels were just off the chart and they were having problems getting it down. I've seen other people have migraine headaches, couldn't, no amount of medicine and everything they do manage the triggers. And do we know all the triggers? Are you not doing this? Are you not eating that? Are you not coming into contact with this? Couldn't get it down. I've seen people whose IBS is just off the chain, just off the chain. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, was off the chain. And often some people will have Crohn's disease, and it just under stress and strain and anxiety of the job, those diseases and illnesses get worse. And you're going to the doctor, you're spending up all this money on copays, you're spending all this money on medication, right? It may be time. That's a pointer. If you're going through any of those things, that is a pointer that it may be time for you to find another job. And some people go back to, I gotta pay the bills, I gotta pay the mortgage, gotta take care of the kids, I have to eat. But something that my dad told me when was a single parent of 3 kids, worked full time. My kids were in taekwondo, of course, Girl Scouts and piano and all that other stuff. And I said, well, their dad's not giving me child support, so I need to go out and get another job. And my dad looked at me and said, oh, okay. So if you die from a heart attack from all the stress trying to work 2 jobs, who takes care of your kids then? And I didn't like that. I did not like that coming. I can actually say now it's kind of funny, but at the time it wasn't. I didn't like that coming. But what he was saying was, at the time I was under so much stress. I couldn't sleep. I was gaining weight. I couldn't lose the weight. I was unhealthy. Um, and I tried to add a second job to all of that. I had all of that from one job, and I was trying to add a second job on top of that, right? Yeah, it hit. I never will forget when it finally hit me that I was in a place that I needed to change. I had was taking a bath, and I was in my 30s, and I couldn't stand up in the tub. I was stuck in my bathtub for several minutes because I couldn't stand up. And that's when I realized that the stress of the job had caused me to eat, because that's what some of us do when we're stressed on the jobs. And I had gained so much weight that I couldn't stand up in a tub. And I just thought to myself, I'm in my 30s. What does 40 look like? What does 50 look like if at 30 I can't stand up in a tub? Pointers that it was time for me to find another job. It just was. Um, so, what am I saying? I'm saying that if your health is suffering and you have some illnesses and diseases that you and your doctor are simply struggling to manage, and they're kind of on the verge of not being managed at all, it is probably a pointer that it's time for you to look for another job. Or if you can't look for another job, it's time for you to negotiate. Do I find somewhere else to go in a company? Do we look at some accommodations for some of the things that are not critical, some of the other things that I do on my job? Because you need to be able to do the essential tasks of the job, but there are other things that you may need to work on, accommodations, so that you can do your job. But it's a pointer if your illnesses are out of control and you can't control them. Another pointed to it's time to leave your job. If it's like 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon, 8, 9, 10 o'clock Sunday evening, and you're feeling sick, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling panicked, you're crying, you're emotional because you're only thinking about going into the job, and that is causing anxiety and panic and causing the crying, that is certainly a signal that it's time to find another job, right? And another signal that it's time to find another job, if you call in like every Monday, you lay in your bed Monday morning and come up with 1,001 reasons why you got to call in, you can't make it today. If you can look back over the last 6 months and you called off like 2 to 3 Mondays out of every month, that may be a signal that it's time for you to leave the job. You got to do a check, do some awareness. It's probably time for you to find another job. Um, Also, this is another one. That's the Monday one. If Friday, you're finding reasons every Friday to find out, check out, leave work early, it may be a signal that it's time to lose your job. I mean, time to leave your job, not lose your job, but leave your job. Now, I'm saying Monday or Friday for the people that work Monday through Friday. But of course, if you start your work week on a Wednesday and you still have the same thing, you're emotional, you're crying, you have anxiety, you're having panic attacks, you have migraines, and your work week starts on a Wednesday, those are still signals that it's probably time for you to start looking for something else. You know, sometimes you can look for something else within that company. Other times you got to look for something somewhere else, but those are all signals. Very, very healthy signals. If you're sick all the time and your illnesses are out of control, if at the start of your work week you're emotional, you're crying, just going through the task of getting ready to go into that job the next day make you sick, they make you ill, it's probably time for you to find another job. Some other signals that it's probably time for you to find another job: if you're just miserable every day, miserable. If you're miserable, you're anxious, you're sad, you're depressed, and as soon as you leave the job, you're like, yes, all right, I feel good now. But every time you go to that job, you kind of fall down and you're anxious, you're miserable. Those are signals that it's probably time for you to leave that job, right? Because you're miserable. And if the only place you're that miserable is at the job, that's a signal that it's probably not the right job for you, right? And another signal that people have if it's time to leave a job, if and this is I'll admit this is so me. Um I know that it's time to leave a job when I become very sarcastic and I'll say a smarty pants. Okay. This one can get you in trouble with the boss if you don't watch it, but when I become very sarcastic and my wit is very acerbic and very sharp, very cutting and very critical, I that's one of my signals. When I get that way, I'll take note and say, okay, and I'll start looking. I will start looking to do other jobs because I know it's time for me to leave. And so for some people, you may become that way, or you may be rude, you may be critical, you may be very touchy or combative or angry and just like everything that goes on. Those are signals that, you know, if you're not at the point where you need to leave, you may be headed in the direction of that you need to leave. And I knew it when, I tend to be very quiet. And kind of sit back and kind of easygoing. So I know that when I become very acerbic, very sharp in my retorts and critical and picking things apart, I know that I need to leave because it's when I look at it, I think that it's not fair. My supervisor is my supervisor, whether or not I agree with everything they do, whether I hate the ground they walk on, whether I hate the air they're taking from me, or whatever the reason I feel about however I feel about a supervisor, I still feel that I owe them my respect. And so one of the things that really would push me to get another job would be I need to respect my supervisor. And when I get to the point I can no longer do that, it's time for me to leave. That's not fair to that person. Right. And so that's kind of some of my reasonings going behind why I will look for other jobs. So those are some reasons. Again, if the job is affecting your health, where your diabetes is out of control, your hypertension is out of control, your migraine headaches are out of control. You can't, and I've actually seen people be on the last or the highest dose of medication for high blood pressure that there is, and the doctors are like, we got nothing else. We've tried every other combination. This is it. We got nothing else. If you're at that point, if you, and I've seen people also that have heart disease, and their doctors are like, we tried all the combinations we have. We're hanging on by a thread here. If your job has you at the door of death, it's time to leave. And I understand, and I tell people I understand, and that's why I start off with the reasons why people typically stay on a job. I started with that because I get it. Yes, you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the mortgage. But if in the process of paying the bills and the mortgage, you're dying or you're at risk of dying like fairly soon because of the stress and the illness, it is time to find another job. It just really is, because it doesn't make sense to die in the service of that job. That you can find another job that doesn't kill you You really can. It really is possible. I've helped people do it. You don't have to stay at a job that's literally in a physical sense killing you. Remember that if you don't manage stress, you don't manage anxiety, it can manifest in physical illnesses, diabetes, hypertension, cancer. Yes, you can see people that get cancer because they've held on to the anxiety, they've held on to the frustration, they've held on to the anger for so many years that it begins to manifest in the body. In fact, I was reading something last month that said unforgiveness is one of the top things that manifests as an illness in the body. And so if you're at that job and you're angry at the people on the job, or you're angry at your supervisor, and you're unforgiving, that unforgiveness can translate to illnesses in your body. So again, if you're ill at your job, and you say, well, I'm working a job because I got to pay the mortgage, I got to take care of my significant other, or I'm helping out with the bills and I'm feeding the dog and all of that, but you die of a heart attack tomorrow, how helpful have you been? Now some of y'all may have some like really outstanding insurance policies, but your family will rather have you there than to have the money left from an insurance policy. Again, you're in service, putting in your value in your time at a job so you can take care of your family. But if you die in the process, then you're not taking care of your family. And so it really is important for you to find a job that matches you. And that's what career coaches and career counselors are all about. We're all about finding jobs that match you, not trying to put a square peg in a round hole and make you fit. And a lot of us do that on our jobs, we're square pegs trying to fit into a round hole. And can you imagine trying to whittle away and fit that square peg into a round hole for 25, 10, 20, 30 years? Yes, you're going to be sick. Yes, you're going to be ill. It is just best to look at a plan. So when we say, is it time to leave your job? Yes, it may have been time for you to leave your job 15 years ago. And so we're talking about putting together a plan to make it happen. Start making that happen. And that's what career coaches and career counselors will do for you. You can get that coaching, you can get that counseling to help you transition, right? Because again, the last reason that I listen, some people just don't know how to effectively transition from one job to the other. And so they stay and they're miserable and they're unhealthy. But you can get help for that, right? So, again, I want to thank Fernando Kittrell for his topic of how do you know when it's time to leave your job. I started this presentation off by giving you 9 reasons people typically stay in a job they don't like, that they're miserable in, that they're healthy in. And those 9 reasons were, I got to pay the bills, number 1. Number 2, I've invested this amount of time here, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years in this job. Number 3, if I just waited out long enough, there'll be a regime change and I might be okay. Number 4, this is the 4th, 5th, 10th job I've had this year. I might want to try to hold on to this one. Number 5, intimidation from the current management. Number 6, what the heck else do I do? I've been here 10 years. I've been here 5 years. This is the only job I've ever had. What else would I do? Number 7, I don't really know if I could get another job. I've been here so long, I don't have the skill sets to go out and get another job. Number 8, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to leave. I'm afraid of what a new job would entail. I'm afraid to have a different routine. I'm afraid to have new coworkers. I'm afraid to have a new boss. I'm afraid to take that risk and do it. Number 9, I don't know how to effectively transition to another job, so I stay here stuck, right? So those are the typical reasons why people stay in a job. And so I said that I would let you know, is it time to leave your job if your health is adversely affected. In other words, you're really, really sick from your job. You're being sent home on bed rest constantly. Your diabetes, you can't manage it. You can't seem to get your blood pressure under control. You've had a bout or two with cancer. These are all ways that they're signals that your job is killing you and it's time to get another job. Another way is if the first day of the work week, if getting ready for that job, you're feeling sick, you're anxious, you're emotional, you're crying, finding reasons not to go into that job every Monday or whatever your first day of the work week is, those are signals that it's time to leave your job. If you're just miserable, if just driving up to your job, driving up, walking up physically makes you ill, and I've known people that do that. They're fine off the job. As soon as they hit that job, they're sick. Those are signals pointing to it may be time for you to leave your job. If your job is killing you, and you're hanging in there because I got to pay the bills, I got to take care of the kid, I have to take care of wifey, I have to take care of husband, I got to take care of my significant other, but the job is killing you. Those are all signals it's probably time for you to find another job. So that is my truth to you today. Those were my motivational nuggets of knowing when is it time to find a job. So if this resonated with you, and one of those 9 reasons or the reasons that you are staying, or someone who stayed in a job, drop a comment below and let me know which of those reasons you are staying in your job. And if it's something that I don't have on the list, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. That is my truth today. I appreciate everybody for watching. And those of you who catch me on a replay, thank you so much. And you too, answer in, because I do go back and look at my videos and look at the comments. Drop me a comment. Is it number one, the reasons why you stay in a job? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or something altogether different? Put that in the comments too. I hope you have a great Friday. And for those of you where it's already Saturday, enjoy your Saturday and take care.